Well, Mr. Ladipo Johnson joins us today to continue our focus on this matter. Morning, and thank you for coming on. Well, looking at this, I mean, clearly we've got a challenge in this matter, and it needs to be sorted out. And interestingly, I mean, the PDP seems to be quiet on this one. Well, first and foremost, but should we look at the PDP first or the law? Or both at the same time? You're a lawyer as well as a member.
Yes, as the professor said earlier, it's not the law. It's really about the people involved and the spirit of the law. So I suppose we need to look at the players and what is really going on in Rivers State. So
is it that the players define what plays out?
Yes, unfortunately that is the situation. I think there's a saying that you create laws, you know, but it's the people who implement them, people who participate in your system that determine whether they are going to stick to the rules or do things any which way they want to.
What's your assessment of what's going on?
It's very unfortunate. Being honest, I think it's quite dangerous for the country. I think that we can apportion blame if we want to, but most people, I haven't conducted an opinion poll, okay, but a lot of the people I've spoken to are not convinced that the executive arm, either at the federal level or whatever, isn't involved. But we pray and hope that things will be nipped in the bud and that some form of normalcy will be returned.
Nipped in the bud. I had to smile there because it would seem that, you know, some people would say it was simmering, and this is, our correspondent used the word, it's seething, a seething fire.
Yeah.
You know, so it
could
it's not already past the stage of the bud.
No, it could become much worse. That's what I mean. So it's a good thing that the Senate has done what it did to look into the matter and see how they can bring the factions together.
It's curious you said the Senate. Both houses sat.
Yes, the House of Representatives took a decision, whereas the Senate felt they needed to have a fact-finding mission, which in the circumstances I think is the better thing to do or to have done. So I do hope that the parties on ground in Rivers would cooperate with the Senate, and maybe we go forward from there.
But how would you consider the action of the House of Representatives in all of this one? Because they've already taken that position, and people have seen the fact of this matter. Where does that put them?
If you look at the politics of it, thank God it isn't a phone-in program, because some people will crucify me. But if you look at the politics of it, the House of Representatives probably took a preemptive action, because some will say that if law and order breaks down further, if it had gone any further, and it seemed that the executive arm of government had lost total control of security in the states. Don't forget, it wasn't just the House. You had people outside as well, and what have you. Then it would have opened the path for a declaration of a state of emergency. Now that's the extreme. So what I read into the act of the House of Representatives was that it was preemptive, that look, we're taking over there and things will be all right, as it were. But as I say, I believe that the Senate position is more mature.
Let's look at it this way. I mean, clearly they're politicians.
Yeah.
They will play politics, irrespective of their professions, but they're in politics. Could the House of Reps have come up with that decision if they were not so sure that the Senate was going to toe the same line? Because they know that whatever decision they take, if the Senate does not concur with them on that, it's still null and void.
Yes, but the House would do that to force the hand of the Senate. You understand? You may have more proactive, let's use the word proactive, members or more interested members. Don't forget, as you said, they're politicians. Everyone has one side or the other that he or she supports.
Okay.
So they needed to act fast. Now, they came to that conclusion that, hey, there's something happening in the state that makes it impossible for the House of Assembly to sit.
Yeah, but why would they need to act fast? Act fast for what? In whose interest?
Yeah, naturally it would be protecting the interest of the majority of the so-called majority of the members of that House or of the governor of the state.
The thing is that there are those who say that this is like a build-up from about 3 months back.
Yes.
Now, shouldn't the National Assembly, and indeed, the House of Reps or the Senate, shouldn't they have looked into these matters before now? I mean, if the governor is complaining about the situation with his commissioner, and from the federal point of view, they're saying no issues, shouldn't the National Assembly have looked into these issues before now, so that it wouldn't have precipitated this?
Well, with hindsight, yes. But then, again, none of the players are clairvoyant. They probably didn't know that such a thing would happen at the time it happened. That's 5 members, if it is indeed 5 members, trying to impeach the Speaker and take over the House. If they had known, I'm sure they would have put other things in place as politicians. But that's the whole, I was going to say that's the whole point of the game. But these are the things that actually dictate what you do, what you do not do. It depends on what you expect will be done by the so-called opposition.
You know, our last speaker came with a totally different perspective. He says that all of this is really inconsequential. You know, we have to stay focused on the mandate of good governance given to the governor, and that, you know, and also members of the House of Assembly as well.
Yes.
Do you think that this is just a distraction, or do you think that this is capable of totally distracting the government of the state from doing what it ought to do?
Yes, well, it is capable of distracting the government from doing what it ought to do. Definitely. If you have a situation where the House of Assembly cannot pass laws, they cannot perform their oversight functions on the state executive, etc., then the state will not move forward. You understand? But
okay. Well, would you agree with pardon me for butting in, but would you agree with those who think that, first of all, they think there's a problem, a challenge, if you will, with the party, because they don't understand how members of the party will go about conducting themselves in this way. By the way, they've got majority in the House of Reps, they've got majority in the Senate, they're all members of the same party in the State House of Assembly in Rivers. It's a PDP leadership in Rivers State, and all of this is going on. Now, don't they sit back and ask themselves, if this is the way they conduct themselves, how are they going to respect Nigerians if they don't respect structures in their own party?
I've said it time and time again. The People's Democratic Party is such a big party, size-wise. It takes in various interest groups, various ethnic groups, ethnic interests and divergent interests in the country. So it is bound to have problems. The people there are politicians. They're not saints. They're Nigerians. We know what we are. We know how we are, you know, as Nigerians. And it is a shame. Unfortunately, that is what we are at the moment. We're striving, a lot of people are saying we can be better, we ought to be better. But unfortunately, that mirrors what the average Nigerian is like at the moment.
Wow. But
It is sad.
This scares a lot of people who want to go into politics.
They should go into politics.
For true purposes, not just for
Exactly.
selfish purposes.
Exactly.
Now.
People who have concrete feelings about moving this country forward, who have ideas, who want things to proceed properly, ought to get involved. I agree that not everyone can be a politician, but one way or the other, you ought to get involved. If you do not, then certain people will continue. It's as simple as that. And that is what we must learn. The system is not going to become perfect because it's not just going to drop on us. Nigerians have to be involved.
Even though nobody wants to die for his country by the
Nobody
hand of
wants
a
to-
mace.
No, no, a lot of people, nobody wants to die, full stop, not even over the issue of the country. Or, you know, it's a real shame. It's a real shame. And it only mirrors or shows what is going on in society.
What do you think we should be doing now to correct this?
Well, do what you're doing, but at the end of the day, it lies with the people. Leadership is important. I agree. We always have the argument, some people say we have a failure of leadership or whatever. I always say it's we the people. I have problems in my work. You understand? We could improve. We could render better services. You understand? We are all guilty one way or the other.
What should the party have done?
Well, the party, I think, should have stepped in much earlier
The party at what level?
at the national level. If there's a problem with the state PDP, the national level should have stepped in. The National Working Committee ought to have stepped in.
Are you sure they've
The
not
Board of Trustees ought to have stepped in. If they haven't to date, then questions need to be asked.
Are you sure they've not stepped in? I mean, the governor was suspended a couple of weeks for, according to them, anti-party activities. And now this matter is like an implosion or explosion, so to speak. So are you sure they've not stepped in?
That is a very, very good point. How, if they have indeed stepped in, how did they step in? Was that the right decision? What were the anti-party activities? You understand? And unfortunately, I mean, it's a shame. I keep saying to people that the success of the PDP, not the balancing of the PDP over the years has led to the balancing of the situation in the country, because it's the party running the administration at the federal level and in most of the states. If the PDP becomes unstable for any reason whatsoever, then we have a problem.
So Nigerians should be interested in that party.
Oh yes, they should be, because it's the party that has a majority of people in positions at the moment.
How do you see this getting resolved? I mean, we had asked you, do you think the party should have stepped in earlier?
Yeah.
But now that you say that they haven't, or maybe they did and, you know, we're not quite seeing the results. We should ask the manner in which.
Yeah.
I just want to know, do you think it's too late? Is the situation beyond redeemable?
No, it isn't. It isn't. The PDP may never be the same again. It may be past that stage, but it isn't beyond redeemable vis-a-vis the country. If the talking goes on and the PDP begins to sense that public opinion is that leadership is not coming from where it ought to come from, 2014, 2015, just around the corner, then they will have to step up their act. You will find people who will say, look, this has gone on too far. It is affecting us. The senators will know that it's affecting them. The members of the House will know it's affecting them in their constituencies. when the people of the country begin to say that, look, it's bad publicity every day for this party. You understand? So these are the natural things that will help keep the party on the straight and narrow path. And maybe they will re-engineer themselves before the next elections.
Do you have a word for the people of Port Harcourt, the people who are possibly not members of any political party and just want good governance, want, you know, peace back in your state?
Well, before I give them the word, the question is, how many of these people who want good governance actually took the time to stand in the sun or under the rain to vote? That's the first thing. When they look back.
What about those people?
Those who did.
Who did?
Yes. Well, take heart. Make sure that you know what is going on, who's doing what, who is saying what. And when next you can exercise your franchise, make sure you do it properly, not emotionally, not based on sentiments, not based on the fact that the man is from my village or the woman is from my constituency or what have you, or the same religion as I am. That is the way Nigerians vote at the moment. And when we move away from that, then things will begin to improve, I believe.
All right, then Ladipo Johnson is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll return in just a moment. Please join us again if you